Welcome back everybody to another episode, and in today's episode guys, I got to thinking and I was like, the season is right around the corner. We're sitting in February here in Wisconsin, and right around the end of April, early May is when we start doing some fishing around here. So I got to thinking and I was like, let's do a video of my top 5 baits that I would never leave home without. So really quick guys, before we jump into the video, I think we're at like 4,500 subs right now guys. At 5,000 subscribers, we are doing a rod and reel giveaway along with a bunch of tackle that I have. Just extra stuff that I have that's brand new. Some of it is stuff that was put into bags. My father-in-law donated a bunch of tackle that when he was going through a bunch of soft plastics that he just didn't use or didn't want to have anymore. So I've got a huge bag of that right here guys, and that is part of the giveaway. This thing is just stacked full of tackle, and this isn't even all the tackle that whoever wins the giveaway is going to get. You're going to get a rod and reel combo. I'm going to throw in some fishing line with it as well, and then this tackle right here, this huge bag, along with a bunch of tackle from a couple of partnerships that I have as well. So if you guys are new to the channel and you want to be entered in the giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel. So if you haven't done that already, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell notification next to it so you never miss an upload when I do upload a video. Alright guys, so we're talking about my top 5 baits that I would never leave home without. And if you guys have been watching my channel for some time now, you know that I absolutely love fishing frogs. I've got a big box of frogs here. Absolutely love fishing frogs. In particular, my favorite frog to fish is probably going to be a spro frog, and particularly this color here. I like to use this particular frog with the poppin' frog, but I also enjoy using just the normal frog in this color. I think that this kind of white and chartreuse bottom is a really good color. I don't know, I always get bites on this frog. It's my favorite frog to use. If I run out of these, I'm always buying more of this color. I have all different colors of frogs guys. I've got completely black frogs, all white frogs. I've got just a ton of different frogs. So if I had to take probably just even one lure fishing, I'd probably take a frog. It's a super exciting bite to have as well. I absolutely just love it when you get a big blow up through a bunch of duckweed or big vegetation. You just get that huge bass that lurk in that thick pad. So I just love fishing a frog. I'm probably gonna fish a frog on probably like a 7.3 to 7.4, sometimes even 7.6 heavy action rod, just because you're fishing in that really thick stuff, so you want a good rod to get them up and out of there. So I usually use a 7.4 heavy action rod with probably like 50, 60 pound braid on there, because you want to be able to cut through with a nice high speed reel. So, but like I said, frog is probably my #1 lure that I would never leave home without. So the next lure guys, and I will live and die by this lure. Whenever I'm having a tough day catching fish, I will pick up this bait and I'm tossing it the majority of the day. Absolutely killer lure, and that is a swim jig guys. Love using a black and blue swim jig or a white swim jig, and I like to team it up with a paddle tail on there guys. So really, I'm just assuming that you guys would have trailers with you, but a swim jig is a great lure, especially for a beginner as well. You can throw this thing just about anywhere. What I love about the swim jig especially is you can throw it into that thick grass, and it pulls through the grass really well. I just love a swim jig. It's a great confidence bait if you're just trying to put fish in the boat, and I've caught a lot of really good sized fish off of a swim jig. So that is my #2 bait that I'll never leave home without. I have a huge box of swim jigs guys. I got a bunch of swim jigs up here as well. Just love fishing them. I really got into it a couple of years ago, and ever since then the swim jig has just been constantly tied onto one of my rods. I throw a swim jig usually on a 7.1 medium heavy fast action rod. That's a perfect rod. Even a 7-footer is a little bit better because you can skip these swim jigs. You can skip them under docks really well too. It's a very versatile lure. That's why I love it. You can fish it in grass, you can fish it around wood, you can fish it right up underneath docks because you can skip them right underneath them really nicely. So a swim jig, 7.1 to 7-foot medium heavy fast action rod. The reel, not pretty much whatever you want to use. You don't need anything super fast. So, but swim jig, #2 on the list. So #3 on the list guys is actually a Senko. I have a bunch of these black and blue ones. I love using all different colors. Pretty much I like to use green pumpkin or black and blue, but a Senko is probably, it's always tied on. I always have a Senko on because it's probably one of the best lures that you can use for bass out there, guys. A Senko. This thing is just a tried and true method that always catches fish. I've never not had a Senko ready to rock and roll on the boat. It's just a great way. It's the first lure I learned how to fish was a Texas rig Senko, and ever since then, that's all I ever fish. I usually use black and blue, like I said, or I will use green pumpkin. I usually toss a Senko on a lighter setup, kind of like a medium power fast action. I don't go super heavy with the weight, maybe a 1/4 ounce, but if you go any heavier, if you're gonna go up to a 1/2 ounce or something like that with a Senko, I'd suggest going to like a medium heavy rod. But a Senko, guys, super underrated lure sometimes, and sometimes it's just the only thing that I end up throwing for that day. So, especially Gary Yamamoto Senkos. I'm not associated with Gary Yamamoto at all, but I absolutely love the Senkos. They're great Senkos overall, but like I said, can never go wrong with tossing one of these. Next bait on the list, guys, is going to be a Craw. I love these Rage Craws, guys. They are really nice craws. I like using them because you can Texas rig them, you can throw them on the end of a jig, you can actually throw them on a swim jig if you want. I've used these on the back of swim jigs. They give off really good action, but a Craw fish is great. You don't necessarily have to use these Rage Craws. You could use any different craws. I've got a bunch on here, from Power Bait to Havoc brand craws. I don't really care what you use for craws, to be honest, but a crawfish is a great soft plastic to have in the boat with you. It's a solid bait. It always catches fish for me. I really like the Rage ones because I can throw them on the back of jigs and everything, and they give off really good action. But like I said, just having a crawfish soft plastic with you is going to be huge. I'm going to toss a Texas rig Craw. Usually if I'm throwing a Craw, I'm usually throwing it a little heavier, medium heavy fast action rod. It really depends on the weight. If I'm in that 1/4 ounce range, I'm throwing it on a medium power most likely. If I'm in that 1/2 ounce range, 3/8 to 1/2 ounce, I'm probably going to go to a medium heavy on that, or you know, throwing it on the back of a swim jig. So crawfish, great soft plastic to have with you. And now lastly, guys, the lure that, my 5th lure that I would carry with me, and that is going to be a Chatterbait. Now when the swim jig bite is not happening, or it's a little bit windier, rougher water, I like to throw out a Chatterbait. The reason being is that this little blade here is going to give off some vibration in the water, and it's going to help you get those bites. So I'll usually fish this with like a paddle tail on there as well, the same that I showed you guys with the swim jig. I'd probably rig it up with like one of these white paddle tails on the back of this sucker. That's how I like to fish a Chatterbait. Now I usually fish a Chatterbait on a medium heavy fast action rod with like 20-pound fluorocarbon. Reason being, I like using fluorocarbon, and I like having heavy fluorocarbon. I know that 20 pounds pretty heavy, but I like to have it heavy because when I'm tossing a swim jig, I'm generally tossing it in some grassy areas, and I know that this bait is going to be, if it gets bit, they're going to be dragging it through the grass. So I like to have that extra heavier line to get them up and out of there. But a Chatterbait is great for those days where you got wind, rougher waters, and you're trying to get the fish to find that lure. This is going to give off tons of vibration. I really like the chartreuse and white color. I pretty much will only toss this color for the most part. I have all different colors. I have black and blue, green pumpkin, even red and black, stuff like that. But 99% of the time I'm probably throwing the white and chartreuse or an all white Chatterbait. So those are my top 5 baits that I would never leave home without. Let me know in the comments below your favorite lure that you never leave home without. Just drop one lure down below, if more if you'd like, but I'd love to know what you guys would never leave home without. That being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and if you guys want to be entered in that rod and reel giveaway with a bunch of tackle, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel. At 5,000 subs, we're giving the rod and reel combo and the tackle away. We're at like 4,500. So if you want to be entered, all you gotta do is subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next one.